When Michael Jordan retired in 1998, after dominating the 90s and winning 6 NBA championships, there was a void in basketball. Soon enough, that void was filled by young superstars like Tim Duncan, Shaquille O'Neal, Kevin Garnett, Dirk Nowitzki, Tracy McGrady, Steve Nash, and Kobe Bryant. This year's NBA playoffs marks a similar, unofficial passing of the torch from one generation to the next. Players like Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Jason Tatum, Trae Young, Ja Morant, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, and Donovan Mitchell have made an imprint on basketball's biggest stage, and the future of the league looks bright with these up-and-comers at the forefront. And believe it or not, it may actually have been the NBA's condensed schedule and a related pile of injuries that allowed this young group to step into the spotlight. Injuries have plagued the NBA this season, and many believe it's due to the condensed regular season where 72 games were jam-packed into a 5-month schedule. But this isn't the first time a shortened season has opened the door for a young generation of talent to take over the league because of injuries. The year after Jordan retired in 1999, a lockout-shortened season that saw teams play 50 games in 90 nights was also riddled with players who were out of shape and injured. It led to the 8th-seeded New York Knicks, who were missing a 37-year-old Patrick Ewing due to a season-ending injury, to advance all the way to the NBA Finals, beating more experienced veteran teams like Alonzo Mourning's Miami Heat, the Atlanta Hawks, and Reggie Miller's Indiana Pacers in the process. In the Western Conference, something similar was happening. The West was bursting with young talent, between the feisty Portland Trailblazers led by a young Rasheed Wallace and Damon Stoudemire, the Los Angeles Lakers' dynamic duo of Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal, the San Antonio Spurs led by second-year player Tim Duncan, and the newest basketball unicorn in Minnesota, Kevin Garnett. In the end, it was Duncan's dominance that prevailed, beating Garnett's Timberwolves, Kobe and Shaq's Lakers, and the gritty Blazers on the way to their first NBA Finals, eventually toppling the underdog Knicks in 5 games, sparking a dynasty that would last over 17 years and result in 3 Finals MVPs, 1 regular season MVP, and 5 NBA championships for the big fundamental. It wasn't just Duncan. Every player I mentioned dominated the following decade. From 1999 to 2010, every single NBA Finals featured either one of Shaq, Duncan, or Kobe. In 2011, another lockout-shortened season ushered in a new era. This time, it was LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and the Miami Heat toppling James's longtime tormentors, the Celtics, in the second round of the playoffs. The team the Heat met in the conference finals was the Chicago Bulls led by young MVP phenom Derrick Rose. In the West, the first-seed Spurs got dismantled by the 8th-seed Memphis Grizzlies, led by a young Mike Conley and Marc Gasol, only for the Grizzlies to lose to an even more dynamic young team in the Oklahoma City Thunder, who had 3 future MVPs on their roster. Kevin Durant's Thunder squad and LeBron's Heat both lost to the eventual champion Dallas Mavericks, led by Dirk Nowitzki. But make no mistake, that season was the catalyst that changed the landscape of the league. Kobe, Duncan, and Dirk entered their twilight years while LeBron, Durant, Harden, and later down the road, Steph Curry and Kawhi Leonard began to take over. From 2011 to 2020, every single NBA Finals included one of either LeBron, Durant, Steph, or Kawhi. And with Durant's Nets eliminated and Kawhi possibly missing the rest of the playoffs for the Clippers, that trend is potentially coming to an end. 8 of the 20 All-Stars whose teams made the postseason this year have missed at least 1 game in the playoffs due to injury. A byproduct of all the injuries has presented the NBA with an opportunity. With LeBron, Kawhi, Durant, and Harden, all presumed top 5 players in the NBA, who are all also above 30 years old dealing with injuries, and Steph Curry not even in the playoffs in the first place, it's given the spotlight to some of the younger, up-and-coming talent in the league. In the West, Ja Morant scored 35 points for the Grizzlies to help eliminate Curry and the Warriors and secure the 8th seed for Memphis, and then followed it up by stealing a game against the juggernaut Utah Jazz in the first round and scoring a franchise record 47 points in Game 2.
7 run, they go into Morant. Oh my goodness!
Ja's 73 points in his first 2 career playoff games are the most since the NBA formed in 1949.
That's pretty good.
On the other side of the court, Donovan Mitchell helped the Jazz cruise to win the series against the Grizzlies in 5 games, and despite being hobbled by an ankle injury, showed no signs of slowing down. Mitchell averaged a whopping 32.3 points per game and is already breaking records, becoming the first player in NBA history to have scored 30-plus points and made 5-plus three-pointers in 5 straight playoff games.
They are really struggling to contain Mitchell, and they're basically putting him in that pick and roll on every possession, and he is getting wherever he wants on the floor.
Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton have both proved skeptics wrong, leading the Suns to their first Western Conference Finals trip since 2010, despite Chris Paul battling through injury. Booker and Mitchell are the first 2 players since Gail Goodrich in 1972 to average 25 points per game on teams with top 2 records in the conference and still not make All-NBA teams. In the East, Trae Young is also proving doubters wrong, showing that he can be one of the most dynamic offensive engines even come playoff time. He scored 30-plus points in 6 of his first 11 playoff games and has also scored 20-plus points and dished out 10-plus assists in 6 of the 11 games.
Here is Young, finds his spot. Young on the floater, puts it in. Trae Young with a miraculous shot.
Giannis, Jokic, and Embiid, who are no doubt more well-established players that are on the tail end of being called young, have also had their fair share of dominant moments in the playoffs. And even outside of the young stars still remaining in the playoffs, we've seen other generational talents show flashes of their brilliance. Jason Tatum and Luka Doncic, easily the 2 best players under 25 years old, showed that while their teams around them aren't talented enough to become contenders now, they surely are going to dominate the next decade. And even beyond that, players like Zion Williamson, LaMelo Ball, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander are knocking on the door, waiting for their turn on the big stage. This isn't to say we're completely writing off some of the league's more veteran superstars. Durant, LeBron, Kawhi, Harden, and Curry are all still extremely competent and probably will continue to win NBA championships in the near future. But it does seem that somehow these shortened, jam-packed seasons that result in injuries are the catalysts that help usher in a new generation of superstars in the NBA. So while Jordan dominated the 90s, Kobe, Shaq, and Duncan dominated the 2000s, and LeBron, Durant, Kawhi, and Steph dominated the 2010s, which one of these young stars is going to grab the next generation by its horns and claim dominance over the rest of the league? Thanks for watching. If you like this video and want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button.